Bada bing! We just did a sound test before we started, and I did not talk at that volume.
It's
So
fine, probably.
whatever they're hearing is gonna be good. We're back, baby. We
Well, like,
were gone for 1 week, which was
oh no, very
sad
sad.
day for us. I hate skipping weeks, dude.
Yeah, it really fucks up the time
Yeah,
spectrum of everything.
yeah, because I mean, it's almost like a checkpoint for our lives, right?
Yeah,
Where like we come in, we ask how our lives were, and then once we skip a week, it almost makes you not take the next week as seriously.
or it makes you not remember the week at all.
Yeah, but we did
What
it.
happened last week?
What did happen last week? Let's talk about the past couple weeks there, buddy.
Uh,
Let me. Okay, this is off the rails already. Oh my god. Okay, so we skipped last week
yeah.
because, as we had discussed, 'twas my birthday.
Oh yes, happy birthday, happy
Thank
18th.
you, Matthew. I'm an adult now, a legal
Wow,
adult.
that's crazy.
So because of that, things got a little busy, and we didn't do as good of a job of time management. But we're back for our 3 listeners, and this time
Yep.
not only do I have water, but I have an Arnold Palmer.
Ooh.
This is a half iced tea, half lemonade.
Ooh.
So we're living lavish at 18, folks. But
Uh,
my
yeah.
birthday was very fun. Had Navdeep and Manvir come over. Manvir from last week's episode, who
Wow.
the fond viewers will remember, and Akil. We went to a drive-in movie theater. Very good times. And yeah, they also gave me a WWE Championship belt for my birthday. Should I show everyone?
If you want to go grab it real quick.
Okay.
Well, folks, I don't know. Oh, he knocked it over. So I guess, in the meantime, we'll talk about the complexities of capitalism. So capitalism. It's a very confusing thing.
Oh! I'm the champion!
Thank you, Juptej.
me!
Yes, you are being reviewed right now on the NPR podcast.
So that's what my birthday was like. Did I make a loud noise when I got up?
I don't know. Just
If I did, I'll try to quiet it down in
yeah. Okay.
post-production.
Wow.
But yeah, that's what my birthday was like. Not to, you know,
Yeah, I don't know.
not to flex. How was your birthday, Matt? Or not your birthday?
Well, it hasn't happened just yet, but funny enough, it'll be happening in about 2 weeks.
How are your past couple of weeks?
They have been fine for the most part. Honestly, a little uneventful. But I mostly been preparing to go back to school. All my classes are online, but I will be returning to campus, probably by myself.
Sad.
I mean, I don't care. I like having an apartment to myself. So I've really been doing that. The school that I go to partnered up with a company called Calico for their COVID testing stuff. And it came to light that Calico is a very shady company.
You want
They're
to go into
4
the
months.
details of that?
Yeah, they're 4 months old, and promise to get you a COVID test 24 hours after you register an account on their website. And then they promise to get the results back to you 3 days after it gets back to the lab, which most lab companies cannot even do 6 days. So that was a little suspicious.
A little.
So I've decided to get tested elsewhere.
As you should.
I'm getting tested at a CVS because they don't charge me. I don't have health insurance. So hopefully that test comes back negative. If it comes back positive, we have some issues.
We have some issues. That is correct.
To do it. But yeah.
Yeah.
And my my birthday will be, funny enough, August 16th. You're in about 2-ish weeks.
And we will celebrate it with a live podcast, am
Yes,
I
we will.
right? With
Oh,
a
yes, we
real
will.
life, in-person podcast.
If
Unless you
if
come back positive, in which case.
then I probably won't be down there.
Speaking of positive tests, this,
Yeah.
this seems like a good enough segue. Herman Cain,
Oh yeah.
the wonderful former presidential candidate, he tested positive, and then he fucking died.
That's crazy.
Which, okay, COVID is not funny, but it's a little ironic in this case, I would say, since Herman Cain was also spotted without a mask at a Trump rally, and he was one of the anti-max people, and now his death is being mourned by all sorts of right-wing outlets who literally oppose the use of masks and call COVID a hoax.
No.
Sorry,
But it
something to think about.
happened to one of their people, so
Oh, so now it's real.
and now it's real.
Gotcha. As long as, I just had to be aware of the double think that was going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole thing made me a little bit curious of Herman Cain because I'd never heard of him before. So I was just,
It's
go ahead.
it's funny because actually the 2012 elections, kind of when I first started actually paying attention to politics.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have the most nuanced view of it, admittedly, because I was 12. But I understood at least minimally what was going on. Especially during the Republican primaries. At least I knew who Mitt Romney was. I knew who Herman Cain was, and I knew kind of his 999 plan. Because let me tell you, that shit dumb.
Yeah, so in preparation for the podcast, we were like, let's look up who Herman Cain was, right? Let's see, should we be, pointing out the irony in his death, or maybe was he just a good old guy who got misled by some bad actors? So let's see. Let's take a look at his Wikipedia article here, which I'm now sharing with the people. 2012 presidential campaign of Herman Cain, an American businessman and radio host. Cain ran as a Washington outsider, became a frontrunner in the race in the fall of 2011. However, Cain's support plummeted after several women alleged that he had engaged in sexual harassment or, in one case, a 13-year extramarital affair. So that's one thing.
Like one thing.
Just one thing. Let's go. Maybe we could read what those sexual harassment allegations were. Inappropriate behavior towards women, more inappropriate behavior towards women, commented on someone's attractiveness, invited her up to his corporate apartment.
The standard.
The standard. And then we go down to some of his political positions. Oh, what's this? Islam and American Muslims? Well, let's read what he has to say about them. A number of comments made by Cain regarding his attitudes towards Muslims have caused controversy, such as 2 cases in which he expressed his distrust of the doctors treating his cancer when he believed them to be Muslim, including one who had a too foreign name, and his relief upon the discovery that the doctor was a Christian. He described his discomfort with the specific Muslim doctor as based on his knowledge of the religion, which included an understanding that Muslims have an objective to convert all infidels or kill them. He said he would not be comfortable appointing any Muslim to his administration or the judiciary. He criticized a court case overturned on appeal in which a judge used a husband's Muslim religious beliefs as a basis for not granting the man's wife a restraining order against him, and has argued in favor of allowing communities to ban the construction of mosques, expressing concerns about people who might be terrorists. I don't know if this is good podcast content, just reading a Wikipedia article, but I think it's good us content. I'm interested. you know,
I still would never wish death on many people. And I think one of them is Herman Cain, even though he's a dumb,
yeah.
big dumb.
He didn't do anything like yeah, he's a fucking idiot, but he didn't do
Yeah.
anything bad enough where I would wish death upon him.
Yeah.
That being said, I think we can also say he brought it upon himself.
I mean, like, yeah.
Right? I think that's fair.
I mean, he was playing, like, playing with the pandemic, without like wearing a mask
Yeah, I
in
mean,
public.
like if you see one of those like one of those fail videos or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like it's just a bunch of kids like goofing around on a roof. One of them
Yeah.
falls through, maybe they die, right? those fail videos.
Yeah, those videos.
Where a kid fucking dies.
Straight up dies.
You're not like, I want you to be dead, but you're like, he kind of had it coming.
Yeah. Play stupid games, get stupid rules.
Yeah, there we go. That's a better way of phrasing it. Play stupid games?
Win stupid rewards, Don't wear a mask during a pandemic. You're probably going to get the virus.
Hey.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so Herman Cain, R.I.P., but let his death be a message to all you stupid fucks out there that are not wearing masks, not being safe, not doing your thing. Just wear a fucking mask, dude.
Like, bro, it's not even that. Like, it's not.
It really isn't. Just wear a fucking mask. Some of them look so nice. I'm trying to get one of the pullover ones because of my beard. The mask doesn't really cover the beard as well. So if you get one of those pullover ones, and those look so fly, dude. Just wear a mask, please.
Wear a mask, Jesus.
Also in other COVID news, let me pull this up. Hold on. Dead air. The United States of America currently has 4.59 million cases.
USA.
And 155,000 deaths worldwide. Or not worldwide, in America.
USA.
Number one, baby.
Can't be beat.
Number
Can't be
one.
Let's go.
Fuck yeah. China obliterated. Italy, get the fuck out of here.
Russia, I don't know her. Boom,
Who?
get the fuck
Russia,
out.
who?
The EU?
Who? Spit in your face. UK? 4.59 million cases of COVID. What the fuck do you know?
Bitch.
Our economy? Gone. Human lives? Out of the building.
Yeah. Anyways,
what do y'all know about human rights violations?
we totally forgot to mention this in if we're talking about COVID, I remember we were talking about this the other day. The U.S. government paying Pfizer $2 billion for 100 million dosages of their vaccine.
Oh,
That's supposed to be done.
Yeah, I remember.
Supposed to be done by the end of the year.
So that's good news, right? That's very good news.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. Yeah. I just want to see their trial numbers. If the trial numbers look good, then I think it's a good sign. But
yeah. I think that's a fair stance to have. Like
and I can understand,
but also let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, I understand a lot of concerns. Just like, vaccines usually aren't made that. There's actually a reason why the COVID vaccine actually got like a head start. Mm-hmm. And I remember because this news came out like when it first broke out in China, that the Chinese doctor who originally like leaked the story of COVID existing also leaked like all the genetic data for it, which basically gave a bunch of like scientists like a kind of a head start.
Yeah,
because they didn't need to like let the disease do its thing before they figure out what was like actually happening. And so that's why a bunch of companies have already been able to like make vaccines for it.
Yeah, that's really one of my main concerns was like, I'm worried it's going to be rushed and it's going to end up doing a lot more harm than good.
Yeah.
Like I know it isn't really something where it's like, hey, take your time.
Yeah.
But I also don't want it to be something that's botched because it took too long. I mean, not it took too long. That they were
Yeah.
trying to hurry up the process. You know.
I still do trust the FDA to a good extent.
Yeah.
Even though, because I mean, like the FDA and the White House have clashed multiple times over things, so that's usually a good sign.
Yeah.
If you don't agree with the White House, that's usually a good
You're on
sign
the
that you're
right
doing
side of
something
history,
right.
buddy.
Yeah. So I do generally trust the FDA and the CDC still. So
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, all is well, and we'll have a vaccine out by the end of the year. But
for at least 100 million people.
Yeah, which is a lot of people.
That's about 1/3 of the
it's a
U.S.
lot of people. Yeah. So who knows?
Who knows? All right.
Maybe we should administer a policy where you only get a vaccine if you come in with a mask.
Oh. No, but you know, like most anti-maskers are also anti-vax. They don't care.
So what is this? Just like natural selection?
A little bit.
Is that just kind of what we're going for here?
I mean, like, yeah. If you literally like are like not taking the vaccine at that point, just like, bro, you deserve it. Like,
yeah. One of the most interesting things that I've seen is like political cartoons coming out and articles and stuff coming out from like the 20s. I think about the flu or something where they're like, it's the same type of fucking rhetoric that we're seeing from these anti-maxers. Go ahead and talk a little bit while I pull up one of those. I don't know what, just talk about something, I guess.
I mean, I guess like we've never really like going back to our education, we never actually really learned much about the Spanish flu, if at all. Like we kind of just learned that it existed at one point, and it's kind of weird that we don't learn about like the Spanish flu because like that's the world's most deadliest pandemic ever. It killed like 3% of the world's population, which is like crazy because that was like 50 million people. Which I mean, like the Black Death had an estimate of like 25 million, 250 million. But that's the thing; it's only an estimate. This is the most confirmed ever to kill people, which is like crazy that we don't learn about it. And like we could have learned the techniques that they used to battle the pandemic in 1918, 20, especially back then when they didn't have modern medicine. So I don't know. That's crazy. Like this shouldn't have happened. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I can't find the particular one that I'm looking for, but I mean the parallels are just insane. Crazy. Welcome back, everyone. The program crashed on me, so we were just talking about the political comics that were around during the Spanish flu. And here we're looking at one, The Outbursts of Everett True. It says a comic strip that ran from 115 to 93 years ago. This went viral on Twitter. It's a comic of a dude wearing a mask. This is our boy Everett, our big man Everett. And some guys looking at him says, should I do a voice? He says, ha ha, afraid of the flu, Everett. And then, John. And it insinuates that he got the shit beat out of him.
I really know.
And then you got this next one. Everett, our guy, our boy, our beautiful man, says, I think it's everybody's duty to help combat the spread of the contagion. And this random fuck says, well, I don't think these muzzles do any good. If a person's going to get it, he's going to get it, and I'm going to take my chances. And then Everett says, well then, take a tip from me, wear one, and improve the looks of that face. You owe that much to the community. Holy
oh my
shit,
god. Pure
dude.
savage.
Holy shit, dude. Fucking get him, Everett.
Yeah, it's just interesting how like the rhetoric is like same.
It's the same.
Nothing changed.
It's all the same, man. And dude, the best part is all these fucking comics are just people saying things to Everett, and then he just beats the shit out of them.
He just beats them up.
Like, if you look in the replies, he also tweeted some other comics where this guy says, you and your argument for race equality. That's all a dream. You're talking in your sleep. Race equality. Then he says, my eye. Everett just punches him. He just fucking.
He just beats people up.
It's just people saying dumb shit, and then Everett just beats them up. It's amazing.
Now, if only we could actually do that.
It's the truest form of satire. Political violence. Oh, I love it.
Just,
The
but honestly, you did.
podcast does not condone political
But Loki,
violence.
if you made a comment like that today, all the right wingers would be like, "Oh, this is an attack on my freedom of speech."
And they were saying the same thing then.
Probably back then, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've strayed all that much from
But I think it'd be more wide. Hello,
hello,
dog, crazy
dog.
dog.
What were you
Let me see
saying?
if someone's at the door. Actually,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Don't worry, I'll be back.
I'll keep him entertained with musings on why capitalism has failed. Am I qualified to talk about that? I don't think so. I don't know. I think I was talking to Matt earlier because we talk in places that aren't the podcast. Holy
She's
shit.
barking at a bunny.
Okay, I was just explaining to them that we talk and that's it.
That's it.
We talk. All right.
Anyways,
should we move on to... Let me see what my notes say here. God, this is the worst episode. David Duke? Oh, fuck me, dude. David Duke.
that's it. All right.
David Duke got fucking banned. I'm real loud this episode. David Duke got fucking banned off Twitter. So that's a win for the commie lefties.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't know, if you... You
Yeah.
good? You good?
Yeah. Yeah, you good?
You good? You've been screaming over there?
Yep.
If you don't know, David Duke is the former leader of the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan,
Yes.
and Twitter just straight up said, fuck you, loser, and they banned his ass. And this has the same kind of political discourse that any sort of banning does, where the rational thinkers are like, good. David Duke gone, good. And the morons are like, hey, we shouldn't be silencing... Hey guys, we shouldn't be silencing anybody's voice. We should let everybody should have a place to talk. We should let everybody talk. Which one of those do you fit into, Matthew?
I mean, I'm like a mixture of both, realistically.
But with specifically David Duke.
David Duke? I mean, like, I don't think he was, like, saying anything about it.
You don't think David Duke was what?
Saying anything of value?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think it was, like, an attack on freedom of speech.
Yeah.
It's not like they...
Can I make my argument for freedom of speech?
Okay.
So, I forgot the actual name of this thought process, but essentially, in order to have freedom of speech, you need to restrict freedom of speech, right? I think that's a fair sentiment. And America, that's an American value too. If you look at our freedom of speech, our freedom of speech is not absolute. You can't make threats against people. You can't say certain things on public television. Like, our legal freedom of speech has restrictions. I think any platform like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, any of these platforms have the right, and they do, to write up their terms of service. You agree to those terms of service when you sign up. And if you don't like them, hey, fuck you, loser, hit the road. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that's the system that we live under. The free market shit, you know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah.
So, I think especially in an online forum, it's so important to enforce these terms of services because we've seen in websites like Reddit, in subreddits like the Donald and stuff, and in 4chan, and in the poll threads, those are all just Nazis. Any place where that kind of free speech absolutism exists in a political context, Nazis and fascists have bombarded it.
Mm-hmm.
Even in like that one subreddit, the political compass memes,
Yeah.
that's all just dog whistling. Like it's a lot of dog whistling. Maybe not all of it, but I think a fair share.
I would say like very minority of it. I mean, like I'm quite a browser of that subreddit.
I
So
think a
a lot of
fair share. Like I heard the argument made where like if you say 25% of our we have 25%, right? It's each of the quadrants.
yeah.
But like if you have 25% fascists,
Mm-hmm.
you're a fascist subreddit cuz
Well,
those people just love to like get in there.
if you want to, if you want to break down the political subreddit, you can, because funny they actually have done multiple like breakdowns of like their quadrants, and the least popular quadrant is the authority, where I think only like I think it was actually 13% was then became because they love to use the 13% crime statistic.
Well, despite making up only
Only
13% of the
13%.
population, the auth right contributes to 50% of the propagandizing.
Yeah, I I th- here I think the issue with banning people, it's kind of like the same thing of just like if you like kind of are like in the same realm of being like possibly authoritarian, right? You are like a Nazi. It's just kind of the same line of thought, just like, oh, if you're like a leftist, you're a commie, you know. And it's not any
Yeah.
different than what we did in the '50s,
You know,
you know.
I agree. I'm not advocating for any like Red Scare type of shit.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
I do
But
think that the
I think that they.
leader of the KKK.
Oh well, that's different. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think banning, like, let's say like Tucker from Twitter would be kind of weird because you may not like agree with Tucker, right? Unless he's like advocating for like.
Tucker Carlson kind of up there. It's just a simple thing where like, okay, if you it's the protected classes type shit, right? With some of them. Some of the terms of service I don't know if this is I think this might be YouTube's thing, except they don't enforce it as heavily. Where they say like harassment, but basically what that means is no going against like race, gender, sex, things like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's perfectly fair. But then,
Yeah.
depending on how harshly you want to enforce that, you also have to enforce it on people that dog whistle the fuck out of themselves. Because there are way too many people on, like you got your Sargon of Akkads. You have open, you have Sargon's not an open neo-Nazi, but he's a neo-Nazi. You have open people who are spouting ethno-state bullshit who still are on their platform. And I think it's a little weird, to say the least.
Well, it's free speech is one of those things that's very common. Uh,
Yeah.
when you especially when you break down like the nuance, because I mean, like we could say that because kind of right now, like socially speaking, the left kind of has a lot of power with things. But I mean, it wasn't too long ago where kind of the roles were reversed, you know, where the left were very much silent in like the '50s.
I would say the left has like some social clout, but at the end of the day,
Well, I mean, like it's
capitalists are in power.
regarding like Twitter, YouTube.
Yeah, like again, like socially.
That's what I just said.
Okay, go.
Yeah, yeah. Hey.
Hey.
But like if you go back to like the '50s and the '60s and kind of the '70s as well, it kind of stopped in the, like you know, being a communist or even really being left of the center was kind of like problematic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people lost their jobs because of it. You know, if you were not, I think it kind of ended during the Nixon administration, especially with the Vietnam War becoming very unpopular. And that's when it was kind of okay to become left again, almost.
Yeah. I mean, I would say even now, just being like left of center is a little, it's looked down upon. I mean, you're like, just
It
to
depends on your-
clarify,
well-
libs are not left.
Well, hold on. Actually, because I actually had a discussion in my geography class one time, which was weird. Because it's kind of more based on region. If you're left of center in like the DC area, that's perfectly fine. It would actually probably be more controversial if you're like right of center.
Yeah.
But if you're like in like Kansas, it's
Well, yeah, that's just the population density argument, right? It's like
well, yeah, but that's kind of my
in
point.
yeah, in places of
Like,
higher population density like New York, LA, Chicago, all those areas, they're bound to be leftist. Or
yeah.
not leftist, but more left. Whereas in
So,
places like Kansas, Tennessee, all those areas, they're bound to be more right.
but arguably in like the 50s and 60s, that kind of like distinction didn't really exist as heavily. I mean, in the higher popular cities, yes, there were definitely more leftists in like, rural cities, but like in your typical American suburbs in the 50s, all of them fuckers were like mad conservative, you know.
Mhm.
And if you were like, well, you know, guys, I don't think the Soviet Union's that bad, you probably would have been lynched. It's low key, you know. So
Yeah.
not like actually lynched, but like
Yeah,
socially.
but yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you were like darker than milk, then maybe.
Ooh.
Yee.
Glad to know we got one this episode. Ooh.
Yeah, we finally got one.
Ooh.
But yeah, I think since the left right now kind of has that social clout, at least with social media, I think we should try to use it responsibly and realize that just because you have a right-leaning idea does not mean you're a Nazi.
Yeah.
But being
I
a
would agree with
Nazi,
that. I think
being a Nazi,
I think words
is
like Nazi and fascist are thrown around a little too much.
yeah,
But I think a lot of the propaganda that's spit out by people like Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Trump, I think it's very fair to say at this point that that's fascist rhetoric.
yeah, if not just like authoritarian.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Well, there's a difference.
Come on.
There is. It's complicated, but there's a difference. It's the reason why
Come on.
Putin's not a fascist.
Come on. Anyways, I think colloquially they can be used or semantically, so rhetorically. That's what I was trying to say. I think rhetorically, fascistic, and authoritarian aren't exactly interchangeable, but in this context, I think they are.
A fascist and authoritarian is not.
Your audio just cut out.
Oh, a fascist is not necessarily authoritarian. Is not necessarily a fascist. Isn't.
Your audio cut out again.
Oh, Jesus Christ. An authoritarian is not necessarily a fascist, but a fascist is an authoritarian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they spout blatantly fascist rhetoric, not just authoritarian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, like, especially with Trump, like, trying freedoms of speech.
Oh,
like,
100%. Do we want to get into election now, then?
I guess so.
I think that's a good segue. And then
You got the map?
I don't think I got the map, actually. Send that
Yeah,
over.
I put it into Discord, so you can just.
Oh, okay. No, but then they're gonna see our messages. They're gonna see us flirting with each other.
Oh.
Oh, it's
here,
just our thumbnails. Okay, here it is.
Yeah.
This is. Why don't you talk about this, Matt?
So I've been keeping up with the election and the polls. Now, I would like to dispel a myth that I've been seeing everywhere. That right now it's just another 2016 because Biden's leading, but like so was Hillary. Yada yada yada. Yeah. It's not 2016. Let me tell you, very different. The polling wasn't even that off in 2016 because if we went by the national average, yes, Clinton was only leading by 3%. Guess by how much she won the popular vote? It was 2%. So she was not off nationally. It was just there was only one state that the polling was incorrect, and that would be Wisconsin. I'm not sure how they messed up Wisconsin so bad, but they did. It was supposed to be like a Clinton win, but like sizable win. But I mean, every other state was like pretty close that Trump won. So I would very much say that this is not 2016 again. And with that in mind, we can look at the map. Now you can see the map is quite blue. And I get all my polling data from 538, which accumulates, takes all the polling data from everywhere and combines it, and then tries to take out the bias of the polls. And as we see, the solid blue states are solid blue, which means Biden's polling 10% or higher in those states. The second tier of blue, I'm not sure how to describe it, like the lighter blue, is the likely states, and that's somewhere between 5% to 9.9%. And then the very light blue is 1% to 4.99%, and then that kind of like grayish blue is less than a percentage point, and then the same thing but for red. So we can see that right now Biden's technically pulling ahead in Texas, which is a very bad sign for the good old Donster, because if he loses Texas, he loses the election. There you go. That's it. But I mean, we can definitely see some trends in this map alone and how the country's feeling toward the president and its administration. A lot of places are going way left. I mean, Georgia, which is a very strong Republican hold, is going more left. Arizona is going more left. Texas is going more left. Florida is going left. It's not looking to be a good time for Trump. He's going to do a lot, and right now he's not doing a lot. He's doing the opposite of that. And
well, hey,
yeah,
don't sell our president short. I mean,
I'm going to sell him the shortest I can. Now, realistically,
he's working to delay the election. He's doing everything he possibly can.
Yeah. Now, realistically, with this map, I don't think this is how election day is going to turn out necessarily. If it turns out like this, yikes. Well, yikes for Trump. Yay for us. But yeah, let's actually jump into the little delay in the election thing. So I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Trump called for a delay in the election, which he does not have the presidential power to do.
And has literally never been done in the history of this country.
Literally never.
For any reason.
Ever. But he kind of suggested it. Both in the House and in the Senate, both Republicans and Democrats said they will not be doing that publicly. So it's not going to happen. But let's just play with the hypothetical. For some reason, it happened, right? It's really funny that Trump would want to delay the election, because realistically it'd be delayed a whole year till next November, when it was, quote, safe to vote. Well, what do you think would happen? Good old Jump. What do you think would happen?
If it was delayed to next year?
Yeah.
Like,
what do you think would happen?
What do you mean, what do I think would happen?
Well, what would happen to good old Donster?
So I would imagine that he would be delaying the election because of the assumption that he would stay in office for that year.
Yeah. Well, that's incorrect, actually.
Whoa! I did not know this information beforehand. You didn't tell me about this.
Yeah, I thought I'd give you a little good old prize.
Wow! No!
So the one thing the Congress can't do is push back the inauguration. So Trump would still be out of office by January 20th, 2021. Who would take his place? Not Vice President Mike Pence, because he's on the ticket for the election, and no one else in his cabinet, but only the Speaker of the House, which would be Nancy Pelosi. So Pelosi would become the interim president until the next inauguration, which would be next year. Which, yikes. So, I mean, like, it'd be, like, slightly better, but...
Old Ducky Donald.
Old Ducky Donald just wants Pelosi
Duck,
president.
that's what I was thinking about. I was trying to think of some sort of alliteration,
Yeah.
and it wasn't until I had said Ducky Donald that I realized the reason I thought that was Donald Duck.
Yep, you got it.
So anyways, Trump can't do this.
Yeah, Trump can't do that.
No one wants to do it. If he does, it would just be worse for him.
Yeah.
Because I mean, get a competent Dem in office who, despite her flaws, is she's competent.
Yeah.
You know? So we'd get her in office. She'd probably fix up some stuff. People would be like, "Wait a second, I'm happier."
Yeah. Wait, the country isn't falling apart anymore?
Yeah, and then
She would also be the first woman president.
Oh my God! Thank you, Donald is so progressive.
Yeah.
He
stepped down and let a woman take.
He was a secret leftist all along.
Bro, it wouldn't shock me that if Trump lost the election, he just passed some commie shit.
Cheeky old Donald.
Yeah, secret lefty. Knew it all along.
But the thing I've been saying since the beginning, and I think I'm even more scared of now, is what happens if he loses.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I wanted to talk about last week, but we didn't get to because we didn't do a podcast, was the interview that he did with Fox.
Oh.
Which,
Yes.
if you
Oh
have
my
not
God.
seen that Chris Wallace interview, please watch it. It is
So funny.
beautiful. It's so good because he can't come out. Oh my God, I hit the mic. I'm sorry, audio listeners. He can't come at him for being fake news opposition, which he tries to do at one point.
Oh yeah.
He tries to be like, you're fake news, we have good numbers, America, whatever. And then Chris Wallace is just like, we have the statistics right here.
Yeah.
And then even once he gets to statistics, Trump just goes, yeah, see, America.
And then Trump's just like, Biden wants to defund the police, and Wallace is like, no, he doesn't.
Just straight, dude, Chris Wallace is still like a piece of shit, but like that interview.
I mean,
is
in my
cool.
humble opinion, he's one of the better. So
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, Fox.
he at least asks hard questions.
Yeah. That interview was amazing. It was
Yeah.
good. At one point, he literally asks, do you understand that it's my job to do this? And it's it's beautiful. Please watch that Chris Wallace interview.
Yeah.
Where was I
Already
going
have.
with this?
I don't remember.
I was talking about how I was even more afraid of a Trump losing than I am of
That's
Trump.
right.
I'm not more afraid, but I'm still very afraid. Because in things like that, he expresses some disdain. I mean, obviously disdain for losing, but like he literally will not accept the result of the election, which again has never happened in the history of this country.
The reason I'm not like too afraid of it, right, is because I mean, as soon as that inauguration day comes, Biden controls the government. You know?
But here's what I am afraid of. I'm afraid of his followers because I'm afraid after he loses, it'll be just anarchy. Not anarchy, but I'm afraid his followers are going to engage in some very violent, angry behavior.
Honestly, do you know
and
what?
They're going to lash out on minorities.
No, I think. Well, yeah, some of them are.
Yeah.
But a lot of Trump supporters are all bark white. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah,
You know?
but we've seen what happens when they bite. Look at Christchurch.
Yeah.
So
Well, that was in Australia, was it not?
Wasn't Christchurch here?
No, I thought it was
Look
in
at
Australia.
any of the other numerous right-wing
Yeah.
inspired shootings that have happened here. Is basically what I'm trying to say. We've seen what happens when they bite, and it's bad.
Honestly, what I think is probably going to be the more serious ramification. Honestly, probably the GOP. Because realistically, Trump may just go make his own party.
Whatever. I mean,
like, well, no, it'd be good for like the Dems and left. Because if the GOP can't win an election,
yeah.
you know, I mean, it would be like 1912 with Woodrow Wilson, where Teddy Roosevelt wanted to become president again.
That's
and
exactly what I was
moves.
thinking about. Yeah.
So, which is like a positive ramification of Trump not like wanting to leave office.
Yeah, but again, I can't see any scenario where he loses and him and all of his followers just go peacefully. Like, I mean, even if he's like, I'm gonna stage a coup, the military will just kill him. Like, whatever.
Yeah, like just winning. They'd just be like,
fucking
no,
murk his ass.
Yeah,
But-
as soon as he'd be like the Emperor Palpatine scene from Star Wars, where he's just like, reorganize the Galactic Republic to the First Galactic Empire. But then, as soon as Trump would say that, he get like sniped.
Yeah.
Right at the,
Yeah.
the speech.
There's just a guy waiting for him.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm just waiting for him to say it.
But yeah, it's not that that's what I'm afraid of. I'm more afraid of like just like this right now, what we're seeing Trump saying, things like when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Mm-hmm.
That's him on a re-election campaign. And his followers are eating that rhetoric up and doing things like driving into crowds of protesters.
Yeah.
in a re-election campaign.
The issue with
Imagine what he's going to start spouting once he has nothing to lose.
Yeah, I that's actually kind of the reason why Trump is going to start losing the election much harder than he is now. It's because he's doing his campaign wrong.
Yeah.
Right now, he's very much focused on culture war stuff, which most Americans right now do not care about.
Yep.
If you go up to like the average normie American, they probably honestly don't care that the Confederate statue is coming down. They probably more care about how they're going to pay their bills next month, especially since unemployment benefits are going to start like going away. Or
Yeah.
funny transition. Maybe they can't pay rent next month, and they get evicted.
Yeah. That's something to talk about. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, Matt, look at you go, bud.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the eviction crisis. Let me see if I can pull that map up, but that is something that is just horrifying. Like I feel like every time this is so depressing, man.
Yeah.
Every time we come on the podcast, we bark about how like the world is ending and stuff because we love to exaggerate things because we don't really know anything about the world. But I think it's a very fair assumption to say that this eviction crisis is just going to have disastrous effects on the country. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. And you can see this is a map of America. And the percentages here are the percentages of, it says here, renter households unable to pay rent and at risk of eviction as a share of total renter households. And the lowest number up here is 22%, followed by 28. So that means in most states, or followed by 27, in most states, about like 35% and up of their population faces the risk of eviction. 40% of the country, 40% of all renter households face the risk of homelessness.
And yeah, I mean, that is truly what will end Trump's presidency, if anything. Because I mean, if you look at the map, right? Look where all the higher West Virginia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, Iowa, Wyoming, Nevada, Texas even is at 48%. All of those are generally like red states or like pretty like Trumpy states, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't care like how like brainwashed you are. As soon as you lose your home, a good portion of those people are probably not going to vote you back into office. I mean, you're probably going to also see, unfortunately, Hooverville-esque like small shanty towns again, probably called Trump towns. You're going to see Trump towns pop up probably in those states where people are just living in their cars, assuming that they can even pay for their car.
Yeah. I mean, this is such scary stuff. And the worst part is neither of the parties have any good plan to do anything about this.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both to equate them would be false in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the more you sort of like start to get into politics, I feel like you start off with thinking your party's amazing and the other one sucks, right? Mm-hmm. All conservatives are evil, lefties are great, or libs are great. And then you start to get a little more into it, and then you get that enlightened centrist attitude of, hey guys, they both suck. Why can't we all just get along? Right?
Just hug it out.
And then you get into it a little more, and you're like, oh no, these people are evil.
Yeah, it's not just misguided, really.
Yeah, I don't think all conservatives are evil.
Yeah,
but I think the ones in charge are. I think
if
people
not
like
very
Mitch
naive.
McConnell, I think people like Mitch McConnell are fucking greasy, slimy fucks that don't give a shit about their voter base and things like this. Okay, granted, that's all politicians, most politicians.
Yeah.
And things like this are just an indictment on our government and their absolute failure to handle the COVID crisis and their failure to handle any of the repercussions from the COVID crisis.
Because if honestly, like, there's reasons why this isn't places like Europe, where they faced the same crisis. Nothing was different over there. I like to look at Germany because they have the biggest population in the EU, right?
Yeah.
What they did, they shut everything down. They nationalized the wage. I think it was 80% of your wage got paid to you by the government. They shut everything down for like 3 to 4 weeks. They reopened with very little COVID cases. And now they're like fully reopened and they just get to enjoy life. With, I think, some restrictions, obviously. And guess what? They're not facing an eviction crisis right now.
The fact that 150,000 people have died, have lost their life in the past few months, and that's still potentially not the worst thing to happen. I mean, this right here is fucking like civilization collapsing shit.
Yeah.
40%. Imagine, dude, with the civil unrest that's already going on in the country, with the protests that are already going on. Imagine if 40% of all renter households got evicted because of the government's failure to act. And this isn't a conservative or leftist thing. I went on that little tangent earlier. But it's really not. It's just the pure incompetency of our government that's going to lead to actual millions and millions of human lives being fucking destroyed.
I mean, like, yeah,
And that's not fear-mongering.
that's just facts.
I mean, look at West Virginia, dude. 60%. Jesus. Fuck.
Like, yeah, I think we do have to be a little realistic. Obviously, not all 40% homeless. I mean, obviously, state governors tend to be good with last-minute shit. Hopefully, they'll have the sense to put a rent moratorium for even longer.
Yeah. At the least, man.
Yeah, that's like the minimum.
Yeah.
I think in our home state, there still is a rent moratorium, to my knowledge.
Thank you, Northam.
Yeah. Thank you, Northam. Daddy Northam.
Oh.
But yeah, it's just like, bro. It's like, it's kind of like funny because like some people are just like COVID's gonna be the death of. I honestly think this would, because I mean this is really just a larger sign of another systemic issue, which is just like poor economic growth.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like back even before COVID, Trump was like touting the incredible stock market. But I mean, if you yesterday actually, fun enough, after he said we should delay the election, that announcement of delaying the election came 16 minutes after he announced the worst GDP in U.S. history. It went down 32%.
He's like, guys, just wait until the economy gets back up, please.
But the funny thing is, the economy would be back up under another president.
It's awful, man. This is awful, dude. It's something that we keep repeating, but it's not about party lines anymore.
Yeah.
It's just about actual fucking humanity.
I'll be cautiously optimistic about it. Because unfortunately, I think it's going to be one of the things that is going to go down the governors and the state legislators, and not because to my knowledge,
aren't Congress and isn't Congress just failing to pass anything?
Yeah, probably because I mean I don't know if like renters laws and stuff are different in each and every state, which would make sense probably. So I'm not sure this is something that needs to be done.
I think it's because they can't. I think it's because they
can't agree.
Literally,
what to
just
do.
Can't agree.
Well, it's because I also
because obviously the Dems want more.
Yeah, stuff.
And the Republicans are like, but what about Elon? Elon's kind of sad. Let's help Elon out. What about Biden? We got some Biden news, don't we?
Yeah. So apparently, Kamala Harris is probably going to be Biden's VP. I know you don't like this. I'm not a fan of it either. But I will explain why it is most likely the best choice for Biden.
And I'll explain why it's not.
So I know you think that America is going more left, which it is, obviously. In just how the electoral map I just showed you.
Mhm.
But I don't think, whilst I would have liked a progressive on the ticket, such as, or I mean AOC can, but
AOC.
she's too young.
Ooh, AOC.
Too young. But the reason why Kamala Harris is definitely the best. I mean, funny enough, people have done polls on this, just like who would like Biden's best VP pick would be, and statistically, each and every time it's been Harris. And I think really it's because you're like normie American, or you're American who's just not too into politics, right? They're like probably more left leaning than they were 5 months ago. However, I would not say most of them would be considered leftist. They may have left views on like healthcare, police reform, maybe some economic stuff, but to say that they would be leftist would, I think, it'd be very generous. You know,
I would agree with that.
And the thing is, not many people know about Kamala's prosecution history, and we kind of both know that's not something Trump and Pence are going to attack her on, because if they attack her on that, they'd seem really hypocritical.
It's just an indictment of the criminal justice system, which is exactly what we want reform on.
Yeah,
so,
and I mean, also Trump is trying to run as the law and order. You know, so it'd be weird to attack a prosecutor on their prosecution history when you're trying to be the law and order guy. So, and that's kind of why I think Kamala is honestly not the worst pick. Susan Rice also wouldn't have been bad, mainly because of her involvement in the Obama administration. But she's not good for like leftists. But I think it would be considered a good.
Yeah.
Most American.
That's kind of my argument here. Is like, okay, it's not that necessarily Kamala Harris is a bad pick for Biden, because at this point, I think if you're voting for Biden, you know what you're getting into. Like, especially like leftists that are voting for him, like they're all like, "Hey, we're sad about it, but we're gonna do it," you know.
Yep.
So it's not. I don't know. It might hurt him. It might not. I'm not sure. But it's more that Kamala Harris being his vice president is more so just bad for progressivism.
I mean, like, yeah.
So Kamala Harris, if you don't know, used to be a prosecutor. She used to be a district attorney and stuff like that. And she was much less than progressive, to say the least.
Yeah.
Let's look at some of the stuff on her record. Or actually, let me talk about this a bit. Okay, so the issue that I find is it's a very Biden move to have someone like Kamala Harris, because it would just be, hey, she is brown and woman. Come on, be on my side. It's actually she's moderate and all that, whatever.
Yeah. It's funny because before the unrest happened in like early June, late May-ish, the woman candidate who pulled best with Biden was actually Warren, like significantly.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I'm not a huge fan of Warren, mainly because she's a little snakish.
Yeah.
But I mean, she definitely would have brought something.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Warren would have been my pick for his VP. And the reason why is I think, oh my God, my bad. We're just continuing to ostracize the progressive demographic within the Democrats, because I mean, all that shit that happened with Bernie, with the 2016 election where it was blatantly rigged, in the 2020 election where a lot of dirty politics were played.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the closest we have ever gotten to having a leftist, a progressive in office. And
I mean, since FDR.
Yeah, and it just slipped, you know, because the dirty games that were played by the DNC. So you already have the progressives that are kind of like hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
And especially now, where I think a lot of the country, or at least a lot of the youth,
Oh,
He's
definitely.
starting to become even more progressive, because I think before a lot of the youth was like pretty lib, where like, nobody was really politically socialized.
Yeah,
It was more just like, oh yeah, the Dems good. It was
them
the
good.
enlightened centrist thing, right? The
Yeah.
enlightened centrist thing.
Well, also, I feel like a lot of them didn't know too much about.
Yeah, exactly. But now, like, a lot of people, including myself and including yourself, are starting to get more involved in the actual real world side of things. And I think as a lot of the youth does that, they're starting to become more left, and they're starting to see things like this and things like Kamala Harris's record, which is just continuing to disillusion us from the Democrats, right? So let's look at Harris's record here. Miss Harris was criticized. This is from the New York Times, an article from the New York Times. Miss Harris was criticized in 2010 for withholding information about a police laboratory technician who had been accused of intentionally sabotaging her work and stealing drugs from the lab. After memo surfaced showing that Miss Harris's deputies knew about the technician's wrongdoing and recent conviction, but failed to alert defense lawyers, a judge condemned Miss Harris's indifference to the systemic violation of the defendant's constitutional rights. Miss Harris contested the ruling by arguing that the judge, whose husband was a defense attorney and had spoken publicly about the importance of disclosing evidence, had a conflict of interest. Miss Harris lost. Ms. Harris also championed state legislation under which parents whose children were found to be habitually truant in elementary school could be prosecuted, despite concerns that it would disproportionately affect low-income people of color. When a federal judge in Orange County ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional in 2014, Ms. Harris appealed. In a public statement, she made the bizarre argument that the decision undermines important protections that our courts provide to defendants. So she's not exactly progressive.
Yeah, I would say so. She also laughed at the population of legalization of marijuana in 2014.
Oh, yeah. Didn't read that part. My bad.
Uh,
But yeah, and
yeah,
I don't know, because I don't like... I don't like sitting here and being like every candidate needs to be progressive all the way, but I think it's fair that I want someone who thinks like I do. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like anybody
It,
would. And I think Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they're a step forward from where we are now, but in terms of, I don't know, man.
I will say it was, I had I didn't like Biden. I feel very much fan, but I will give him props for especially doing that task force with,
Yeah.
I mean that is at least like showing like that's much better than how Hillary treated. Hillary was just
100%.
like fuck you, Bernie.
100%.
But Biden's just like, listen, at least I'll listen to him.
And that's why I'm starting to warm up to Biden.
Yeah.
Not because of him as a person, but just because I think as a person, he's weak.
I don't think he's weak. I just think he's very diplomatic.
Yeah, I think we have and we can continue to bully him into being progressive. You know what
Or
I
maybe
mean?
just have a nice discussion with him.
No, we'll bully him.
Okay.
We'll call him Sleepy
Well,
Joe,
I think-
and then he'll be like socialism.
I think what the tactic that Biden's using is the tactic that
Dead air.
Biden is trying to avoid the mistake Hillary made and actually try to unify the party.
Exactly. I think that's good.
Yeah.
He's breaking bread,
Yeah.
which, hey,
Yeah.
maybe during the breaking bread, Bernie's there like the 1%. Hey,
Healthcare.
hey, this sandwich is pretty good, but 1% of it has it too good. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, he promised to do that clean energy shit by 20.
Which was kind of a solid plan.
Yeah. His economic recovery plan is also pretty solid.
Yeah.
Of course, they didn't agree on everything, but that's to be expected. And I think as his 4 years go, I think he'll definitely get more and more progressive.
Yeah. And it's
But
not
obviously,
that
he
like
won't be a progressive.
it's not like the Dems are like this evil fucking whatever, right? It's
Mhm.
just I think I don't know. I find a lot of the rhetoric kind of empty. Like
Yeah,
like everything Hillary was doing in 2016, like it was all just id poll. It was all just like identity politics of her like, "Hey, I'm a woman, so that means that I have to be progressive, right?"
and then she like the hot sauce shit. Do you remember that?
The hot sauce shit?
She was in like South Carolina, I think, and she was doing a rally, and she's like, "I always carry hot sauce around in my purse,"
What the
and she
fuck?
put on like a fake Southern accent.
What the fuck, dude?
It
Yeah,
was like,
no. I think it's people like Hillary and like even Obama. Dude, Obama was
yeah,
not a progressive. People always act like Obama
no.
was just like whatever. No, he was
He was
just
admittedly,
like the rest of them.
in my humble opinion, he was definitely the best neoliberal of his time, where he tried
But
things.
it was just more of the same. I feel like.
Yeah,
And same with Pete Buttigieg. It's all just empty rhetoric. I feel like,
yeah,
but I'm warming up to Joe because I like these plans. I think
yeah. He's
they're
at
not
least,
his ideas,
yeah,
but they're ideas, and if he's the one to implement them, whatever. It doesn't matter. Trump bad, Biden bad, Trump worse. It's simple as that.
yeah. So,
Yeah. So should
well,
we
this has
get
been a
to
while.
our this has been a crazy cast. Should we get to our main topic?
Oh, now it's our main topic.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I want to make this the title of the video so we can
is
like
it?
spread more awareness about it. Oh no, we have 2 topics left.
Yeah,
Shit.
we could probably skip Portland. I'm gonna be honest.
We'll
I don't know.
just talk about it. I think we need to talk about it because it's also a dangerous situation. Not anymore for the time being. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Okay, so Portland, if you guys didn't know, Portland has been doing ongoing Portland has been doing protests from day one. And obviously that first week they were tear gassed. Whoa, what am I doing? Why am I the only one up on screen? Holy moly. Guacamole. Oh my god, dude, this podcast fucking sucks, dude. Jeez Louise. Okay, there we go. So Portland, if you guys didn't know, they were doing ongoing protests from day one. That first week, just like everybody, they got tear gassed. But Portland started to show some signs of promise when the judge said no tear gas unless there was a threat to lives or public safety. In June 26th, the order was expanded to include pepper spray and rubber bullets. And then Oregon, the state of Oregon, also announced that the police have to declare a riot and warn protesters before they use tear gas. So that's a step forward into
yeah,
reconciling with protesters. But then, that same day, Trump says he's going to send federal officers into protesting cities.
yay.
So he sends in the federal officers. July 4th was literally like a fucking war. It was federal officers, tear gas, fucking flashbangs, all that shit. But then protesters started firing back fireworks, like commercial fireworks, like into government buildings and stuff. And they were pointing like laser pointers and stuff. So federal officers got annoyed and lit that bitch up with like tear gas and flashbangs and shit. And ever since then, it has not gone any better.
Yeah.
So the DHS comes in, and here's where we start to get into police state territory. So one of the main things that started happening were these soldiers clubbing the shit out of people, beating the shit out of people. And they were unidentifiable. They didn't have name badges. They didn't have who they were with, anything like that. So they would pull up Unidentifiable soldiers would pull up in these unidentifiable white vans, abduct protesters, masking them, hooding them, throwing them in their van. Then they would take pictures of them and their ID and then drop them on the side of the road. And this was a story that was corroborated by multiple protesters. One such protester was placed in a cell by himself and read his Miranda rights. The officers asked if he wanted to waive his rights, but he declined and asked for a lawyer. And 90 minutes later, they let his ass go. So that's what was happening in Portland. The mayor of Portland, the governor of Oregon, all these local, state, federal officials, everyone was like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here, dog.
Yeah,
we really don't want you in here." But of course, the DHS and Trump were like, "Hey, buddy, no thanks. We would rather stay here and violate your civil liberties." So then I believe it was the city of Portland started a lawsuit against the administration. And then finally, they were like, "Hey, we're going to pull out." So it was only like a couple days ago, I think, where federal officers were leaving Portland. So that is a win, an absolute dub, a clean W for the Portland protesters. But I think it's still worth noting that it happened.
Yeah.
And hey, we can talk about the difference between fascism and authoritarianism. But regardless of what you call it, it's fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all the states' rights motherfuckers, right? When you talk about, you can't tread on me, the Civil War was about states' rights. The state and the fucking mayor of the city all said, "Leave.
Yeah.
We don't need you. We got it." And the
chill.
government said, "Nah."
It's because Trump is kind of like almost like, and it's shown that he has no knowledge of how the government actually fucking functions. Because he thinks he can delay the election, I guess. But I mean, it's just like, I don't think he knows what a federalist government looks like.
I mean, there's so many stories, and I encourage you guys to read up on this because my memory is very bad, so I can't really. I'm reading off my notes right now, but there were so many stories of actual human rights violations taking place in Portland. And one of the arguments that I heard, which was, I mean, obviously I'm a Vosh boy, so Vosh made this argument, and I, kind of agreed with it. If an unidentifiable soldier, right? Or if an unidentifiable soldier comes up, picks you up from the middle of the street, fucking rapes you, take pictures of you, and then leaves you off on the side of the road, what do you do? Because with police, with regular ass police, they're supposed to be identifiable. They fucking squirm when you start taking videos of them, start taking videos of their badge, and that's democracy.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking democracy. But when an unidentifiable soldier comes up, violates your human rights, then kicks you to the curb without any due process, who do you go to? How do you complain? Not complain. How do you get your justice?
Well, in an authoritarian regime, you don't.
And that's why what was happening in Portland was fucked.
Yeah.
That's one of the many reasons why what was happening in Portland was fucked.
I mean, that is literally, those moves are literally no different than strongmen would do, such as Putin. Or, Putin has literally done the same thing in Moscow.
Yeah.
It's the same playbook. I mean, that's nothing different than China would do to dissenters. Yeah. Actually, China would probably do a little worse. But, same concept, though.
And it's not like conservatives aren't arguing for concentration camps, mind you.
Yeah.
It's not a vocal minority. It's a fair share of these people that are arguing for actual violation of human rights. So, good job, Portland. Hopefully, the mayor and the governor can stick to their word. I mean, there were a couple funny things that actually happened. The mayor got tear gassed,
Oh yes.
which was hilarious since he was tear gassing the protesters as well. And the the federal officers, the ones that were throwing flashbangs and tear gassing people, started complaining that there was too much tear gas in the air. There was too much tear gas in the air, said the DHS agent, who was nonstop tear gassing the protesters, and then complained that he had to wear a gas mask because of it. Speaking of authoritarianism,
yeah.
Should we move on, or do you have anything else to add?
I don't really think so. Oh wait, yes I do.
Go ahead.
I think this will have severe consequences for especially upcoming this, because I mean there's also still a Senate and a House election going on.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Democrats are smart in those areas, they will definitely be targeting the shit out of the president's actions.
Yep.
Because I mean, like, if you subscribe to the party and like the party head, or at least in this case, the party figurehead, is sending secret police, and literally we went to a whole world war to fight people like that. I think that will resonate pretty well with especially more normie Americans, let's say. So that's it.
Yep.
All right.
So our main story. Are you eating something? What are you eating?
Don't worry about it.
Hey, why don't you pipe it down over there? Jeez, can you? Hey, have some respect.
Excuse me.
Pipe it down. If you follow me on Twitter, if you've been on Twitter over the past couple days, you've seen something about this. Free Jaggi Now. I want to make this the title of it, because I want this video to also be a vehicle about spreading awareness for this. Even if we don't talk about it at length, we'll have the timestamps in the description so you can come to this part. I don't know why I'm saying this while we're talking about it, but okay.
Yeah.
Free Jaggi Now. I'll just explain the background of this case, and then I'll explain what's been going on Twitter recently. So, Juptej Singh Johal, British Sikh activist, started the Never Forget 1984 phrase, or I guess movement, whatever you want to call it. He had, I believe it was a radio show and a website where he spread awareness, info, everything about the 1984 Sikh genocide. So, yeah, that's him. Activist, great guy. He goes to India to get married. October 18th, 2017, he gets married. November 4th, 2017, he's out shopping with his newlywed wife and his cousin. When, and here's a broader theme, he gets abducted by unidentified police officers who threw a hood over his head. Right? So the FCO, which I forgot what that stood for, Foreign and something Office. Let me actually look it up so I'm not sprouting any misinformation. Foreign and Commonwealth Office. They're supposed to be notified when any foreign body arrests one of their citizens. His family tries talking to them. They're completely unaware of Jaggi's arrest. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the judge orders 5 days of interrogation. During this interrogation, Jaggi is tortured. And you can read, we'll put the link in the description to his brother's thread. And in that thread is Jaggi's note that he wrote from jail, where he says that they electrocuted his earlobes, his nipples, and his genitalia. He was sleep deprived. He was beaten. His legs were pulled apart so far and so often, he was unable to walk out of the interrogation room at times, and he has had issues urinating since. 5 straight days of torture. He was forced to sign unknown documents, make video statements due to torture. He appeared in 175 hearings, including 130 preliminary pretrial hearings, and in all 175, no evidence has been brought forward. He's been charged, quote unquote, with 10 crimes, one of which he was acquitted, and I believe 8 of which are federal. Jaggi has been in jail for over 1,000 days. Jaggi has been in jail for over 1,000 days. And the Indian government has still not provided any evidence as to why they should keep him there. The British government, as most governments tend to do not give a shit about this. He has been in jail for over 1,000 days. So recently on Twitter, because the 1,000-day anniversary was coming up, there's been a push to try to get the hashtag Free Jaggi Now trending so they can raise awareness about this, which, amazing. There have been claims that Twitter is allegedly silencing some of these. For example, the Free Jaggi Now account was taken down for a week. It was suspended for a week. And there have been other accounts that received a notice from Twitter saying that their account was suspended because it violated Indian law for spreading awareness about Free Jaggi Now. So, I mean, that's where we are now. You know?
We do love authoritarianism.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's
and there's a lot more info about this that I'm not saying right now, just because, you know, I'm probably not as aware of this case as I should be. So again, especially with this one, especially with Portland, I really encourage everyone watching, all the 3 people, to do more deep diving, look into this case, because the information is just horrific. It's blatant authoritarianism. Blatant fascism.
Yeah, the Prime Minister of India, Modi. He's a strong man. No question about it.
Just
probably why Trump likes him.
Just so everybody's like really aware of like what is actually going on in India, one of the main parties, the BJP, is an openly Hindu nationalist party.
Oh yeah. I mean, they if I'm not mistaken, they passed a law that stripped the citizenship of, was it Muslims or?
I'm not sure about what you're referring to there.
Oh, there was a law that was basically like people need to update their citizenship, and it was, I think, targeting either Muslims, somewhere in northern India, a certain group, and it equated to like millions of people losing citizenship.
I would not be surprised. I mean, again, Hindu nationalism is so rampant in India. And it's the same fucking thing as white nationalism, where obviously when we talk about it, I'm not saying Hindus are bad or white people are bad. But I think it's fair to say nationalism is, in this context. Yeah. It's just awful, dude. I mean, the fact that anybody can sit here and parade that India, and I've seen a lot of tweets about this. I've made some tweets about this. Like, India is the biggest democracy in the world. How they say shit like that? It's not. It is a fascist, authoritarian regime. They are covering up an ongoing genocide. You know the war on drugs that they did here, right?
Yep.
Where they invaded. You know, they infiltrated like smaller, poorer black communities,
Hmm.
pumped them full of drugs, then dipped and went, "Oh my god, look at the drugs." Right? Fucked up their
Yeah.
culture, fucked up their community. They did the same thing in India. They're continuing to do the same thing in India with Sikh communities, with Muslim communities. They are, oh my god, dude. Please look into the atrocities that the Indian government has committed, because there are a lot of them. And that's not even touching on like Kashmir, what's happening in Kashmir. So I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else I have to say about this. There are a lot of amazing people on Twitter in real life. I mean, his brother. I forgot his brother's name. Let me actually look this up. His brother Gurpreet Singh Johal is doing some great work to try to raise awareness, getting freed. He was on Good Morning Britain a couple days ago. That clip is great. I guess the most I have to say about this is just look more into it, spread more awareness, take action. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. It's fucked up, and
Yeah.
no one ever acknowledges any of the dumb shit that India does. Because what, trade? I don't fucking know.
They. I mean, yeah. Generally trade and manufacturing and stuff like that.
I mean, it's probably the same reason why we're not stopping the
China.
China. Yeah, it's just listen.
Well, Australia finally took us.
Listen, China. Listen, India. We know you're engaging in literal genocide,
Yeah.
but we would like to trade. So
Yes. So like.
so you can keep on killing those minorities. Hey there, bud.
Hey.
But yeah, that's fucked, and it's a bit of a downer.
Yeah.
But I mean, fuck
Maybe-
it, whatever.
Maybe we can brighten up the mood with our last segment.
Do we have a last segment? Oh fuck, I
Oh.
forgot about that segment. Jeez. Whew. Okay.
All right.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Jump.
What have we been doing this past couple weeks, huh, bud?
Oh, what have I been doing?
What have you been doing?
Well, honestly, not too much. I'm going to be honest. I'm still watching the Clone Wars. Still haven't finished it yet. The last season 5. Oh, what a beautiful season! Probably if the best like Star Wars stuff ever to exist.
Ever.
I'm not joshing you.
Quite the same.
Yes. I've been trying to keep up with news and politics, but that can be pretty hard. Still been editing for the good old Joe City. The last video was probably one of my more favorite ones.
I'm no longer editing for Joe City.
Quite sad. I had to do it all by myself.
How's that been going for you?
I put 7.5 hours in the last one. That was pretty.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You're doing your best, and we all appreciate you for that.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to start. I think I may actually try to rewatch show Jericho.
Jericho. I haven't heard of that one.
It is a post-apocalyptic thriller. I'm not sure how else to describe it. Because it first starts off as a survival, kind of almost like The Walking Dead, but then shortly turns into a political thriller, where basically, to give a very brief synopsis, basically the U.S., all of its major cities get like nuked. So then you follow a bunch of characters in a very small town called Jericho, which I can't remember what state it is in. I think maybe Wyoming. And basically, a new United States comes about because of it. That's very militaristic. And then also there's like trying to figure out who the hell nuked us. China said it didn't. They didn't do it. Russia said they didn't do it. So it was possibly a terrorist organization.
Interesting.
It is a very interesting show. It got canceled halfway through the second season.
Damn, so did you ever find out who did it?
Nope.
What the fuck?
But it's still a very interesting watch, and I'm curious if it's as good as I remember, because I watched it when I was much younger.
I didn't even watch the show, and I'm pissed off about that. That's
I
great.
don't know if it's still on Netflix, but if it is, that'd be great. So yeah, that's probably what I'm going to be doing.
Wonderful. Is it my turn?
Yes, it is your turn. What have you been doing, Juptej?
Well, I'm pleased to tell you, Matthew. I've been watching, me, Sahib, and Manvir all watched Indian Matchmaking, which is
Interesting.
such a good show. It's such a good show. They're all trash people, or not all
I
of
see.
them. They're not all trash people. Okay, so it's a reality show about an Indian matchmaker, Seema, who is out there helping all these young couples find love. And there's two characters. One of them is Nadia, and one of them is Vyasar, who are the best people you will ever see. And then Aparna fucking sucks. If you watch Indian Matchmaker, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Dude, Aparna is the worst. But dude, please, oh my god. It makes me realize why people watch reality TV. Because once you start and you see, like, these people kind of suck and it's reeling you in, and then you find the character that you like and you just want to see them be happy. Great times. It's a wonderful show. And
Well, I'm glad.
the cinematography is actually, like, good. Oddly enough. It has some really good shots in there. So Indian Matchmaking, definitely recommend that. And I feel like I've been watching. Well, we went to the drive-in, watched Batman, Mask of the Phantasm.
Brilliant
And-
movie.
Yeah, dude, that movie was fucking good. It's just short enough to keep your attention. Great twist. Great
Yeah.
twist. We all lost our shit. And
Also really
Spider-Man
good Bruce
into
Wayne
the-
moment.
What was that?
Also really great Bruce Wayne moments as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. And Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse,
Yes, another
which I
good
did
one.
not realize was as good as it was.
Yeah.
But man, is it good. It's one of, I think that and Spider-Man PS4 are like the best Spider-Man adaptations. Period.
That's fair.
And I think that's everything. I gotta get back on the movie grind. I haven't watched movies in a while.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be watching movies really because school's coming up.
Really?
School starts for us August 24th.
Oh shit. Mine
Yeah.
only starts like a week afterwards. So
Oh, so you start like after Labor Day.
yeah. Maybe
Alright.
that'll be the death of podcast. Who knows?
Oh, we'll see.
Dude, college is scary. I'm scared of college.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I'm scared because, like, it's in, like, Jersey.
Oh yeah, no.
So it's like a foreign land. And then, I don't know, theater is like an intimidating major. It might not seem like it, but it's like you have to, like, there's like a movement stuff involved
yeah.
with my program. So it's not just like, it's not
Are you
just,
do-
hey, come up, do a monologue. Hey, that kind
Are
of
you-
sucked. Here's how to do
are
it
you-
better.
Are you doing theater for social change,
Am I doing theater for social change?
or like theater for like social justice or something like that?
What does that mean?
Well, I know.
Like as a major?
well, as like a focus,
No.
because you say it's for like a movement, right?
No, movement like as in with your body.
Oh,
Yeah. No, movement as in with your body. Like they
Oh.
like they
You're doing musical theater, are you?
No, but they imply like physicality and movement
I see.
aspects into their curriculum. So theater majors, acting majors have to take dance,
I see.
right? And like we also have to take a lot of movement classes, and like to audition for stuff, you have to do a 1 minute movement improv thing, which we talked about today. So very interested to see how that's all going to work out for me, because boy am I not a mover.
Actually, speaking about classes, funny enough, I didn't realize I was taking class until like last week.
What? Wait, what?
There's this very experimental class called a discourse,
Called
and it's
what?
kind of just like a civil discourse class. And it's kind of, I mean, it sounds like it's like you just have civil discourse about controversial topics.
Oh, that's the dream, dude. I want to take that class.
It's kind of just basically like a debate class. Really.
I want to take that class so bad.
Apparently, this is the second time ever they've offered a class, so it's very new, and it's going to be the first time it's ever online.
That sounds fucking awesome, dude.
And I didn't realize I was taking it during an election year. Yes.
Yeah, sick.
So,
and during
I'm really excited for that one.
During a big election year.
Yeah, during a little bit of an important one.
Yeah.
I'm going to plug my podcast.
Dude, fucking do it. I know every year everyone's always like, this is the most important election. I think it's fair to say this is a big one.
At least for our generation, right?
Yeah, I think it's really fair to say that this one, it's going to decide a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I'm about to be like in the class just like, so I talked about this on my podcast last.
Yeah. You can hear more of my thoughts about this on the Zero Budget podcast.
On my podcast, yeah. With my good old friend Juptej Singh.
Oh, thank you, I think that's all she wrote.
Yeah, I think
say
so.
that every fucking time as if it's the funniest thing I've ever thought of. Every time I'm like,
dad.
Is that all she wrote? Well, that's all she wrote, fellas. Thank you, everyone. Oh, I didn't even talk about what's up with my setup.
Oh.
Jeez Louise. I changed up my whole room. I got a new mic. Got these headphones now. And those lights in the back. I'm going to try to twiddle with it. It's not a word. I'm going to try to fuck with it a little more in the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to get a legit podcast set up that won't matter because I'm going to college in a few weeks. So look out for that, right?
Yeah, actually, I'll have some questions after the podcast for that.
Oh, ask away, Matt. Yeah, that's absolutely everything. That was really loud into the mic. My apologies. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Zero Budget Podcast, pre-recorded. Make sure to follow us on Insta at Zero Budget Podcast. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Juptej on Instagram, at JuptejS on Twitter. Make sure to follow Matthew Hanks on Instagram at Matthew_L_Hanks. I'll put the links in the description for more information about Jaggi, for what we can do about Jaggi. Make sure to tweet #FreeJaggiNow to raise more awareness. And we'll put some of the sources for some of the things that we talked about in the description as well. And that's all she wrote, folks.
That is all she wrote.
Thank you guys. Bye.